the record. Okay, right. So again, I'll repeat it quickly. So multiple processes, many processes are waiting in ready queue. So only one process can execute on the CPU at a time. So a process execute or the running on the CPU can, if the execution completed, it can goes to terminated state. If a process needs IO operation, it can comes to complete IO operation. That means out of the CPU, and it is going to complete the IO operation. Then next process comes to CPU and execute it. Then after completion of this IO operation, P1 again can't go to the CPU because another process is there running there, and P1 comes to the ready queue. Okay, after IO complete, P1 comes to the ready queue. Right. So P2 is running. If P2 complete its execution, it goes to terminated state. Then just after that, P3 is coming to CPU and P3 is executing. Suppose P3 need IO operation, it comes out of the CPU and it performs its IO operation. Then P4 comes to CPU. Likewise, it works, students. This is called multi-programming operating system. Multiple programs are there. Okay, so because of the speed, we are seeing all the processes done at the same time. But it is not the truth. It is not like that. Exactly only one process run at a time, but the speed of the computer, we may, that means we may seen all the things happen at the same time. Okay, right. Hope it's clear, students. So this is called multi-programming operating system. But here you have to remember, forcefully we can't remove a process from the CPU and send it to ready queue. It is not possible in multi-programming. Okay, if a process need IO operation, process itself go out of the CPU and it perform its IO operation. Okay, it accomplish its IO operation. Forcefully CPU or the operating system can't, that means send a process into ready queue forcefully. It is not possible in multi-programming operating system, right? If a process complete its execution, it can goes to terminated state. If a process need IO operation, then it comes to out of the CPU and perform its IO operation. Then another process can comes to CPU. That means another process comes to CPU and execute. So the idle time of CPU is very less here, because whenever a process goes to terminated or the comes to complete its IO operation, another process in the queue, in the ready queue, comes to the CPU. So always CPU is running. So here process CPU utilization is high. In batch operating system, CPU utilization is low. Here CPU utilization is high because of multi-programming concept. Okay, students, hope it's enough. If you have any doubts or questions, please let me know. If not, put the heading as multi-programming operating system and draw this diagram. Quickly draw this diagram, students. Yeah.
If the processor doesn't need any requirement for IO operations, will it go directly to the termination?
Some processes may need IO operation, input output operation, but some processes do not need IO operations, input output operations. Then after execution, it goes to terminated state. For example, we'll take one process P1 executing here, and P1 need an IO operation, so it comes to here, and that means out of the CPU, and it perform its IO operation. After complete IO operation, it goes to ready queue again, and again it comes to CPU and execute. Then finally it goes to terminated state. That means all the processes goes to terminated state, but some processes can comes to I, that means perform IO operation according to the process. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So quickly draw this diagram, students. Here we can't say all the processes comes to IO operation. That means perform IO operations. Some operations according to that process, if it need IO operation, it comes out of the CPU and perform IO operation. But some processes may not need IO operation, so it directly go to terminated state after complete its execution. So here CPU utilization is high, but a disadvantage is there. Here we'll think P1 needs 20 millisecond, P2 needs 50 millisecond, P3 need only 2 millisecond, P4 need only 1 millisecond. For example, okay. So P1 goes to here. So P1 is executed on the CPU, running on the CPU. So if P1 needs an IO operation, then only P2 can comes to CPU. If we think P1 doesn't need any IO operation, so P2 has to wait 20 milliseconds until it goes to its terminated state. So it's a disadvantage, students, because here P3, see P3, only 2 milliseconds need. But if P1 and P2 no need IO operation, if P1 and P2 need IO operation, no problem. P1 after 5 millisecond, P1 needs IO operation, then it goes to here. Then P2 comes. And after 10 millisecond, P2, for example, we think after 10 millisecond, P2 needs IO operation. Then it comes here, then P3 can comes to here. But if these processes no need IO operation, then P3 has to wait 70 milliseconds. That means a significant time. Okay, but P3 complete process 2 milliseconds, but P3 has to wait 70 milliseconds here. So it's a disadvantage of multi-programming operating system. That means a process may have to stay more time in ready queue in multi-programming concept. Clear? But processor CPU utilization is high here. Rather, if you compare batch operating system and multi-programming operating system, batch operating system most of the time CPU in idle state, but here CPU is not in idle state, but programs or the processors have to wait until the time comes to go to the CPU and do its execution. Clear? Students?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have explained one advantage, CPU utilization is high, and I explained one disadvantage, a very short time process, even a very short time process has to wait until that means CPU, until other processes execute and go to terminated or the IO operation. Then only that process can comes to CPU. That is a disadvantage of multi-programming operating system. Right. Draw this diagram quickly. Have you complete? Those who complete drawing, please raise your hands.
I think so.
Okay. After completion, please raise your hands. Right, okay. Then we'll move on to next operating system. Next type of operating system, it is multitasking operating system. Okay, right. Our sixth type of operating system, multitasking, or even we can say it as time sharing. operating system, multitasking operating system or time sharing operating system, same thing, right? We'll discuss what kind of operating system this is, right? As earlier, I draw a diagram, RAM, many processes are wait in ready queue. Take P1, P2, P3, P4. CPU is here. So only one process can allocate the CPU at a time. Only one process can run the CPU at a time. So after completion, it goes to terminate state. After complete the process, it goes to terminated state. Right. Here earlier I have explained in multi-programming, forcefully, there is also a disadvantage. Multi-programming, not multitasking, earlier one. Multi-programming, forcefully we can't remove a process from the CPU. It is not possible. Even that process needs, for example, we'll think that process need 10 minutes. So forcefully we can't remove it. If that particular process need IO operation, it can comes to out of the CPU. But if not, until execution finished, it is running on the CPU. Okay, but here in multitasking operating system, forcefully we can remove a process according to the time quantum. So here time quantum is given. Okay, a time quantum is given. For example, we'll think time quantum is 5 milliseconds, right? So if the time quantum is finished, that particular process is removed by the CPU, forcefully removed by the CPU, and it goes to ready queue again. Okay, right. Right, I'll explain it, students. Right. In RAM, many processes are waiting for the execution. So only one process can allocate the CPU at a time. Only one process can run the CPU at a time. So CPU takes one process. For example, we'll think P1. P1 is executing on the CPU, running on the CPU. After the time quantum, operating system given a time quantum to the CPU. Only this much time a process can stay on CPU. After that, you have to remove it. Okay, that is called time quantum. So according to the time quantum, if it is complete its execution or not, no problem. Forcefully it is removed by the CPU. Okay, after 5 milliseconds, forcefully P1 removed by the CPU and send it to the ready queue. And second process comes to here. P2 is running on the CPU. And after 5 milliseconds, P2 also removed by the CPU and send it to the ready queue, and P3 is here. After the time quantum, P3 also removed by the CPU and send it to the ready queue, and P4 is here. After the time quantum finished, P4 comes to the, that means forcefully removed by the CPU and send it to the ready queue. And again, P1 comes. Likewise, yeah, it's happening. That means it's going on. We'll take some time limits to understand these, students. As earlier, I have given, yes, 50 milliseconds, here 20 milliseconds, here 2 milliseconds, here we'll think 5 milliseconds. So earlier multi-programming, We don't know whether P1 or P2 needs IO operation or not. So if we think, suppose P1, P2, that means no need IO operation. So this P3 has to wait 70 milliseconds to execute 2 millisecond process. But here in this multitasking operating system, it is not like that. P1 comes to here. Okay. So P1 needs 50 millisecond, but after 5 millisecond, P1 forcefully removed by the CPU and send it to the ready queue. And P2 comes here. P2 completely needs 20 millisecond, but after 5 millisecond, P2 is forcefully removed by the CPU and send it to the ready queue. Then P3 is execute here. That means only P3 has to wait, yes, 10 milliseconds. 5 milliseconds for this, 5 milliseconds for this. P3 is executing now. P3 needs 2 milliseconds. The time quantum 5 milliseconds. That means within 2 milliseconds, P3 complete its execution and P3 goes to terminated state. But earlier in multi-programming, that means here only 13 milliseconds P3 need, 13 milliseconds. Because 5 milliseconds for P1, 5 milliseconds for P2, 2 milliseconds, 12 milliseconds, no? 12 milliseconds. 2 milliseconds for P3. So within 12 milliseconds, P3, that means goes to terminated state in this multitasking operating system. But earlier, P3 has to wait 70 milliseconds. Okay, because after P1 and P2 executed, then only P3 can comes to CPU. P3 can allocate to the CPU. Clear, students? Students, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is called multitasking operating system, or even we can say time sharing operating system. So P3 goes to the terminated state, then P4 can comes to here. P4. Okay. Then P4 is executing on the CPU. P4 needs 5 milliseconds, time quantum 5 milliseconds. So P4 goes to the terminated state because P4 only need 5 milliseconds. Okay, then P1 comes again and executing, and after 5 milliseconds, P1 removed and send it to the ready queue. P2 comes again and execute 5 milliseconds. After 5 milliseconds, P2 is forcefully removed and send it to the ready queue. This is what happened in multitasking or time sharing operating system. Hope it's clear, students. Right? Simple difference is there. Earlier in multi-programming, we can't forcefully remove a process which is running on the CPU. If a process need IO operation, then that process can comes out of the CPU and perform its IO operation. Thereafter, it goes to the ready queue. But here, after the time quantum, after the given time quantum, if time quantum is finished, forcefully that process is removed by the CPU and send it to the ready queue. That is what happened in multitasking operating system. Right? Okay, students, it's better to draw this diagram. So then hope you can understand. So here very important thing is time quantum. Okay. So earlier in multi-programming, there's no time quantum. Here a time quantum is there. Yeah, I'll put the time quantum in brackets. Suppose 5 millisecond. Okay. Then P1 after time quantum finished, P1 forcefully removed and P2 is here. Yes, draw this, students. After completion, please raise your hand, students. Right, okay. Okay. In multi-programming operating system, okay, CPU utilization is high, and here multitasking operating system also CPU utilization is high. But in multi-programming operating system, some processes, very limited time processes, even has to wait more time for execution. But here it is not like that, because after a time quantum, if time quantum is finished, whatever the process, it is removed, it is switched to the ready queue. Okay, so a process no need to wait more and more time in the ready queue here. So it is a good, it is an advantage. But in multi-programming, limited time, small time process also has to wait. Sometimes it has to wait more and more time in ready queue. It is a disadvantage of multi-programming. Okay, here CPU utilization is high and processors do not need to wait ready queue more and more time. Those two are, we can consider as advantages of multitasking operating systems, right? Okay, we'll move on to the next operating system, students. Right, it is multi-processing operating system. Okay, our seventh operating system, multi-processing operating system. This is somewhat different. This is somewhat different from multi-programming and multitasking, students. Actually, multi-programming and multitasking, one processor, one CPU is enough. But here we need multiple CPUs to conduct or perform multiprocessing. Okay, only multiprocessing is, that means enabled, or multiprocessing can be enabled whenever there are multiple CPUs or multiple cores in one CPU. There may have multiple CPUs, separate CPUs, CPU1, CPU2, CPU3 likewise. If not one CPU, single CPU and multiple cores, core 1, core 2, core 3 likewise. Then only multiprocessing can be enabled or multiprocessing can be done. Okay, right. We'll go for a diagram like this. RAM is there. Processors are waiting in ready queue. P1, P2, P3, P4. And multiple CPUs are there. Okay, multiple CPUs are there. CPU1, CPU2, CPU3 likewise. Multiple CPUs are there. Then the processors are waiting for the execution to allocate the CPU. So P1 can goes to CPU1, P2 can goes to CPU2, P3 can goes to CPU3. So parallel processing is happen here. Earlier in multi-batch operating system, multi-programming operating system, and multitasking operating system, parallel processing is not there. But here parallelly multiple processes are execute because of multiple CPU are there. Okay, for example, P1, P2 executed here, P3 is executed here. Process 1 executed on CPU 1, process 2 executed on CPU 2, process 3 executed on CPU 3. After completion of one of these process, for example, P2 goes to terminated state, then P4 comes to CPU 2. Okay, right. Okay, students, hope it's clear. So multiple processes are waiting on the RAM. Those processes need CPU to do its execution. So there are multiple CPUs are there. So each and every CPU can execute one process at a time. So CPU 1 executes process 1, CPU 2 executes process 2, CPU 3 executes process 3. That means parallelly these three processings are done. These three processings are running parallelly. At the same time, three processes are running because of three CPUs are there. So if CPU2 completes P2 process, then P4 process can enter to CPU2 and execute. So this is called multiprocessing operating system. So multiprocessing is enabled whenever multiple CPUs are there. If not, a single CPU and multiple cores are there. A single CPU and multiple cores are there, like this. We'll think two cores are there, core 1, core 2. In this situation, multiprocessing is possible. In this situation, multiprocessing is possible. But if there's only one CPU and one core is there, there's no possibility of happening multiprocessing. Okay, so for multiprocessing, at least multiple CPU should be there. If not, a CPU with multiple cores should be there. Okay, so in this multiprocessing, also multiple processes can run at a time. Most probably multiprocessing is there in supercomputers, and mainframe computers. Multiprocessing is there, multiple processors are there, multiple CPUs are there. Supercomputers and mainframe computers, we can find multiple CPUs are there. So multiprocessing is enabled in that situation. Okay, right. Draw this diagram, students. If you have any doubts or questions, please let me know. This is called multiprocessing.
Sir, what is meant by core?
A core, right? Okay, I'll explain it. Earlier in Pentium 1 to Pentium 4, Pentium 1 to Pentium 4, only one CPU and one core is there. Okay, after that computers, that means after that computers, dual core computers, dual core means two cores are there in the CPU. Two cores means like these, students, a single CPU, but yes, you know the parts of CPU: arithmetic and logical unit, okay, control unit, and the memory registers. Okay, so here memory registers, arithmetic and logical unit, ALU, and control unit is there separately. This is one core and another core, memory registers, arithmetic and logical unit, control unit is there. So this is called dual core processor. You may heard this word, dual core processor. There are two cores in a single CPU, and thereafter quad core processors comes. Quad core processors. Quad core processors means a single CPU, four cores are there. Four cores are there. And thereafter comes hexa-core processors. A single CPU, six cores are there. And thereafter comes Deca coprocessors. Today we can see these kind of processors. We call it as Core i3, Core i5, Core i7. So Core i3 we can see dual core processors. 2 cores are there. Core i5 and Core i7 we can see quad core processors. Most probably quad core processors. That means 4 cores are there in a single CPU. CPU is only one CPU, but cores it is, that means partitioned into several cores. So in one CPU, one core can perform a task at the same time another core can perform another, that means a task, run another process. So P1 can run, process 1 can run on this core 1, process 2 can run on this core 2. That is what we call cores. Okay. So in personal computers, in our personal computers, we can see the core concept. That means one single CPU is there and multiple cores are there. But in supercomputers and mainframe computers, we can see multiple CPUs, separate CPUs are there. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Draw this diagram. After this, we'll move on to next type of operating system. After completion, please raise your hand, students.